All right, guys, back in the Clack Shack, and as promised, this is my next video, and we're back into the laser. All right, so tonight, what I wanted to do, because since I've got my new 10 watt installed, I kind of wanted to know what this thing is capable of on acrylic. So I broke out, and you may recognize the acrylic from previous videos. I've tried it with multiple machines. Some of it cuts better than others. Some folks said that the reason it wouldn't cut as well was because the coating was on it, the little paper that they put on there from the factory. So I have removed all the coating, and tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see what the 10 watt ComGrow can do to this stuff. And just because YouTube requires me to, guys, the machine was given to me by ComGrow. Okay, I didn't pay for it, and they just sent it to me to try out. Now, on the same note, I don't have any written contract about what I can and can't say or anything like that. I don't do those kind of videos. If people want me to try out their equipment, they just send it to me. If they're not confident enough that it'll get a good review, then I probably don't want it in my shop anyway. So that's the way that works. But because of the YouTube policy, I got to tell you that it was donated, and there's going to be that little paid production thing, which I think is misleading because I'm not getting paid. If I didn't like the machine, I could have just trashed it because I had no obligation to do this. But anyway, we're going to move over to the enclosure, and we're going to start doing some test cuts. And some of you in my last video mentioned that you'd like to see some engraving as well. So I've come up with something that I can cut and engrave that I'm going to be trying out on some of this acrylic to see what kind of results we get. So stick around, guys. All right, guys, up to bat first is going to be the black acrylic, which I am fairly confident this machine is more than capable of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my 10 watt power chart here that I have, that I keep up with all my settings. And previously, using other machines, I've cut this 100% at 8 millimeters per second with 3 passes, and I engraved 100% at 40 millimeters per second. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with 40 millimeters per second for the engrave and 8 millimeters per second for the cut. I will be turning on the air assist for this, so I guess I could probably slow that down a little bit. So we'll go with 7. And I'm going to run it. I'll be honest with you, I think 2 passes is going to work. So we're going to run 2 passes to start. Well, let's do 3 just to be on the safe side. And then on the feel, I'm going to run that down to 40% at 100% output. LPI is going to be 127. So that's just pretty much standard. Let me get around there to where I can turn the air assist on. And this is also, guys, the ComGrow air assist, as well as the ComGrow honeycomb. Yeah, this setup is pretty much all ComGrow 24/7 there. What you will notice that I have made it clactical, and I have redone the air assist here. No air assist protruding from outside of the unit. It goes through the channel down to the elbow and into the nozzle. And that's the nozzle from the ComGrow's kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and frame one more time just to make sure. I'm gonna take my glasses off because I can't see that blue dot on that black background. Frame looks good. I do have this machine set up to use the blue dot as a frame, and for those of you that may have one and want to do that, my power output that I'm using for the frame is 1%. So that might help some of you. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the feel first, so that if it drops or if it moves after the cut, it doesn't affect my burn. But I'm going to go ahead and run the feel. Like I said, 40 speed for the feel, 7 for the cut, 100% all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start on this guy. And I don't know what the feel is going to do as far as the engrave. It may or may not be visible. I know sometimes it turns white. Sometimes it just engraves it and just puts, little lines in the material. So we'll figure out what it's going to do here in just a second. I can't really tell with my glasses on, and guys, since I've took the shield off of this laser, it is not advisable to look at it without your glasses on. So I'm just gonna wait until we get done and we'll look at that. It does appear that it is turning a slight white. Y'all can probably tell more about it than I can. Matter of fact, I could get that camera down just a little so you'd have a little better view. So give me just a second here and I'll try to lower you down some. There you go. A little bit better angle there. Digging the new camera still, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If it's better, worse, if you really don't care, you know, whatever. Just pass it on to me. It was a lot of money, so I need a little feedback. Make me feel better about the purchase. But that is black acrylic, and I'm gonna put the link for this acrylic in the description, guys, so that if you start looking for it, that way if you have this setup or similar setup and you want to try engraving and cutting some acrylic, you'll know what material, you'll know what power settings, what machine. Basically, you should be able to recreate this at home, as long as you have, you know, the materials. So that looks pretty good. It does appear to be giving it a white or gray tone as it's etching it in. And what I'm burning here, guys, I decided that since I was going to be trying to engrave and a cut, that I would make an acrylic Comgrow Z1 10-watt focusing tool, which is on my Etsy store now, for those of y'all that's been asking. I finally got around last night to getting that thing uploaded and put out there. But as you will recall from my previous video, black is probably the easiest color of acrylic to cut. This acrylic cuts pretty well though. You can see where I cut a keychain out and a little square over there with my other machines. But I just wanted to test this guy to see what it would do. Oh, I haven't, this is actually the very first piece of acrylic I've cut with this thing. And I just thought the focus tool, with a black acrylic focus tool, would be really cool instead of just a wood one. Hindsight, this is probably a longer burn than some of y'all wanted, but I can kind of speed through some of it. Let's see how she did. Oh, obviously it cut it. Yeah, I cut it kind of close right there on my framing, but trying to save material, guys. Save it as much as I can. So here's the piece straight out of the laser, and it's got some a little bit of discoloration on this. I'm gonna get some cleaner and clean that up right quick. As usual, guys, if you watch the channel, you know, turtle wax, dash and glass. Use it on everything. Just a little light spray, and then I'm just gonna wipe it off with this cloth here. My text was a little off on this burn. I did some modifications to the file, and I see I messed up a little bit. I had to flip it for some reason. So, yes, it works. And it does give it a unique color there. I didn't get it completely clean yet. So yes, it does work. It does engrave. If I can get the camera to refocus there. Come out pretty well. I messed up on my text alignment for the center part, but all in all, the color and the cut looked really good. All right, so black, guys, obviously black does a good job. So I'm gonna move on to some different colors, and instead of this big long drawn out burn, now that I have me an acrylic focusing tool, I'm gonna start with the colors that did not do well before, and I'm gonna retry those. All right, my biggest adversary of this pack is the white, of course. So I'm gonna put the white up there, and I'm gonna try to do a little cutting with it. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to double check my focus using my newly constructed focusing tool. So the way it works is it slides on the front of the machine, and you basically just let it down until it rests upon the material. And that's got me up to a surface engrave. I did the regular engrave because I've got it kind of marked for which setting you want to use. So what I'm going to do on this one, guys, I'm just going to I'm going to draw up, in the event that this actually works on this white material, I think what I want to do is make me a small keychain. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up my blank keychains that I have, and I'm just going to do one with an engrave on it for the clack shack here, and see how that works out. So let me open up my little key rings. Blank one. All right, pull in my logo. I'm talking out loud, guys, here. Just talking to myself. Disregard. And this way, at least, we'll be able to see if it either doesn't engrave or doesn't cut or both. We'll be able to figure that out. So I got to rotate my graphic to get this the way I want it. And center as well. All right, let me update my overlay. The new camera's working pretty decent. I gotta home that laser and get it out of my workspace. Like I said, this Z1, guys, it does have limit switches. That is nice. Really nice. So an improvement from what I'm used to. So I'm gonna put this try to put this in the top left corner of this piece of material, and I'm gonna frame it. See how close the camera is today. Oh, we're a little off up and down there. Let's try that again. Still got to come down some. May need to be recalibrating this camera. You know what I just realized, guys? There is a already made cut right there that where I attempted it before. So I'm gonna come on down some. All right, that's got me below it. So I've got it properly focused to the surface of the material. This is only 3mm material, so I don't think I need to cheat down any or anything. I'm gonna run the same settings as I ran before, which is gonna put me doing, I'm gonna go 4 on this white. Let's see. I did 3 passes last time. We'll try that again. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit though, since this is a white material. I'm gonna slow it down to 6mm per second. And my feel, I'm gonna go ahead and go back with 40mm per second on that. 127 LPI. I'm gonna move the feel up to the top so that it does it first. And here we go. Guys, that is not even leaving a mark, it doesn't look like. Yeah, the white has been, as you can tell by the reflectivity inside the enclosure, white has been my nemesis. it wants to reflect that light back, and it doesn't take any damage, it seems. 'Cause I'm not even seeing as much as a smudge. Yeah, that is ineffective, guys. That is definitely ineffective. So we're just spinning our wheels on this piece. I'm gonna go ahead and run that back home. I'll show you where it was at. This stuff is so reflective, guys, that it didn't even leave a mark. So yeah, the white acrylic, doing it without coating is a no-go. I'm gonna go ahead and call that one. All right, so now I'm gonna try this pink. See how it does. Now, I almost made it through this with my last test that I did. It came very close to getting through it. So there is a chance that it could do it this time. So let me go ahead and frame that up. All right, you come down and to the right. A little more right. All right, so let's see what this does. Like I said, last attempt, you can see where there's a keychain shape in there. Last attempt with my other machine, it almost came through it. Now I've got this weird popping noise on this stuff that I don't normally hear, which I'm assuming is the material. And it is actually leaving a line, so that's better than white, but I don't know if you can hear that. See if you can hear that crackling. But it's making a crackling noise. It's got to be material related because this machine doesn't normally make that noise. And the material, the crackling is kind of coordinating with the firing of the laser. But guys, it looks like it's going to do a pretty decent job of engraving it. Now I do have the speed run down to 40, so. And as you can tell, I'm getting a lot of reflectivity off of it. You can tell that by the blue that's hitting the interior of the enclosure. But it is actually marking it, so that's a plus. All right, the pink has completed, and oh, yep, doesn't appear that it made it all the way through, guys. Yeah, it barely, you can see where it tried to come through the back. It did a really good job of the engraving, though. I mean, the engraving looks nice. See if you can see that. Let me get it over here where you can see it. The engraving came out okay, but the cut, not so much. So the pink is still resisting the cut as well. Next up, guys, orange. I have cut orange with the laser. I've actually cut the orange that you could see through with a laser before, but this piece, the last 2 times I have tried it, this piece has performed well at resisting it. Now, I will say it does turn white, so it will probably do good as far as engraving goes. It'll probably look cool, but I don't expect to be able to cut through it. So just throwing that out there. One more frame here to make sure I got it where I want it, just in case it does work. All right, and here we go, guys. I'll check back with you once this thing's had a little bit to run, saving some batteries. All right, guys, it looks as though the orange is going to be a win on the engrave, but the cut is not looking like it's going to happen. Now, from what I'm seeing in the cut though, best I can tell, it looks like it might actually be getting too hot and melting the material around it. So I'm kind of wanting to experiment with this piece. I may have to try a new technique here. I may try to go faster, but a lot more passes, and see if maybe that'll work. Because the width of that line kind of lends me to believe that it's going so slow that it's heating the material up too hot and is letting it run back into the hole. And I really like the look of this engrave, so I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out how to cut this one out. So that's 3 passes right there, but that's running that lower speed. The speed right now is set at 6 millimeters per second. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed that up on this next pass and see what happens. All right guys, I'm giving up. I have threw everything I can at this, and it engraves awesome. Like I really like that. It's almost raised up rather than engraved in. And even this line right here, this line is, you can see that it's raised, it's not down. So not sure what's going on with that, but I mean, if you had a sheet of this and if you had another way of cutting it, that actually is a cool looking engrave. It almost looks like it was painted on there. But anyway, a fail again. The other colors that we have, guys, I'm not expecting any better results with this stuff than I have the rest of it, but I'm gonna see what it does with the engrave. I've never done the engrave on this, so this is gonna be the darker, like blue purple color, and we'll see what it'll do. We'll go ahead and try to frame this out if I can see it. Well, I nailed that one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my engrave back on and let it run. Woo, lots of crackling on this. I don't know if you can hear that, guys, but lots of crackling. All right, guys, back here on the dark blue, or it's almost a purple, but I have changed the settings up for these colors in an attempt to maybe get lucky and get through them. I'm running 8 millimeters per second on my speed at 100% output, and I've got it dialed into 5 passes. The hope here is that if it can just cut just a little without melting it together, if I can run that for 5 passes, is maybe it'll make it all the way through it. It actually appears that it is somewhat effective, because I've got a really fine line on this one. It's not bubbling up. It doesn't appear to be melting. So it's too early to call it, guys, but this definitely looks like this is going to be the approach to take on this more stubborn material that's really reflective for blue, because that is it's making a really faint line, and I haven't seen it break through yet, but it looks promising. The engraving is very similar to the results of the black. It appears it's not as deep, but it does appear that it's not a white engrave like I got off the orange, but it's just kind of a scratched surface. So, you know, it kind of made a mark like it was trying to come through, guys, but the blue is going to be a fail. The engraving, I don't even know if you can see it. It's just more or less, you can feel it, and I can see it with the naked eye there, but it just kind of changed the reflectivity of it, and that's really all it did. So that is the last of the pieces that will not cut, guys. So I'm gonna make a few multicolored keychains, because I'm confident that this will cut. This is red. As you can see, I've cut it before with a similar machine. So I'm gonna see, we just wanna see tonight what the engrave will look like. Man, I am nailing it on the placement of these pieces of acrylic. Look at that. All right, so here we go. This is gonna be the red, and I'm gonna let it start and kind of get a look at it, and then I'm gonna pause the video and come back to it. So it appears that this is gonna do a bit of a white discoloration on the engrave. So I'm gonna let that run and we'll check back with you in a second. All right guys, the red, it was a win. Now it's a little like, I'm having to snap it out a little. So I think I'm gonna go back to my higher power setting because it left a little bit of it didn't glass the edge like it usually does. So I'm gonna go back with a little higher power set. Let me clean this thing up and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, the red turned out really nice. Got a good like white engrave on the material. Like I said, that's at a 127 LPI, guys. So, but I did notice that the edges didn't cut as smoothly as they usually do. So I'm gonna go back to my 3 passes with the slower speed and see if that fixes that problem. All right, I'm gonna be doing green this time. Like I said, I will be changing the power. So bear with me just a second while I do that. I think I'm gonna like it better with this material going faster. This colors doesn't seem to suffer the same problem as the non-cutting colors do. I'm kind of curious if this one's going to have a white engrave to it. I'm going to be adding these keychains to my keychain rack for the next event, which apparently is going to be the first weekend of November that I'm going to be at, back in our downtown area. All right, here we go, guys. 40%, 40 speed for the engrave and 6 with 3 passes for the cut. Here we go with the green, guys. I'm digging the green. All right, the green turned out really well. All of this acrylic is getting that kind of a frosted look to it, and the green looks pretty cool there. So another success with the green. And up next is going to be this lime color. All right, here we go, guys. And I'm going to cut the camera off for a minute, let the battery rest. And this one is doing a really nice job of that white engrave. So this could be another cool one. All right, guys, I had a little bit of a issue with the green. I changed some settings on the machine and it didn't want to cut right. So I had to go back and change things up. But the green actually turns out really well. It's got that white hue to it as well. So I'm gonna have some pretty cool keychains before this is all said and done. And the next color up is going to be the yellow. Let's see how the yellow does here. I'm gonna run the same settings I did on the green because I feel as though I'm gonna have similar results. Right, guys, got the yellow up. Let's see how it goes. All right. And all went well with the yellow. It's kind of hard to tell about the engrave with these glasses on, but it looks pretty good with them off. Got a nice white finish. Of course, I've got to clean it up and put the key ring on it, but that turned out well. The cut's pretty smooth. So yeah, got another success there, guys. All right, guys, I've run through the pack of the other acrylic that I had, and I've got a piece of this acrylic that I bought early on when I was building my first enclosures that it's actually transparent. You can see through it, but it has the orange color to it. And I did some testing when I was building my enclosures just to see if it would stop the blue light from passing through it. And I found that I was able to actually cut it. So I've since then have started getting some acrylic from JTech, the actual certified laser safe acrylic. And I just happened to realize that I had a piece of this transparent acrylic laying around. And I know a lot of you guys want to do the acrylic like for the little night lights and that type of thing, where you can put the light in the bottom of it and it'll travel through the acrylic. So I figured, since I've not got any plans for this piece of orange that I bought before, I would attempt to cut one of my keychains out of it. Because this is, like I said, it's transparent, you can see through it, but it makes everything orange. So that's what I've got up there now, and apparently it engraves really well. I'm waiting on the engraving to complete, and then it's going to run the cut, and we'll see how smoothly I can cut this stuff out with the 10 watt and see what kind of a keychain this thing makes. So just stick around with me for a few minutes, and this is either going to be really awesome or it's going to melt. I'm not sure which. All right, guys, I found the magic numbers for this material here. This is the transparent orange acrylic, and I got a successful burn at 8 millimeters per second, 100% output, and a nice engrave at 40 millimeters per second at 100% output. Check this out, guys. Check it out, and it's transparent. You can actually see through it. So yeah, got that to work, guys, with the Comgrow. Now it's backwards if you look at it from that way, of course, because it's transparent, but got it working. I have found that with this material, if you go too slow, all you really do is heat it up, and it melts back together, so you really don't get to cut through the material. I'm running air assist, and I'm running a little bit higher speed, and my theory is it's kind of like scoring glass. What it's doing basically is it's completely like removing, it's heating it up enough to destroy the material. The air assist is blowing it out of the cut, and it's allowing it to go ahead and cut all the way through it at a faster speed. But I ran it at lower speeds, and it didn't want to cut out, so I just kept kind of stepping it up and seeing if I could get it to get a smooth cut. And I got this one running, and I'm going to show you, what it does and how it turns out. All right, guys, there is the last one I'm cutting out of this material for tonight. And I have got the settings dialed in to a 40 millimeter per second engrave, 6 millimeters per second cut, but I'm running 6 passes in order to get it to cut through and cut clean. So it's got just a little bit of a raised edge around it where it's getting a little bit of melt, but not enough to hurt anything. All right, guys, the last test, by the way, this is the material I was using. It's the same acrylic that I used in the first build for the enclosure. It is a transparent acrylic, but it's got the orange tint to it. If you're interested in it, like I said, I can try to look back, get the link, and put it in the description so you can find it. But let me show you what we created tonight, guys. I've been wanting to do a little more messing around with some acrylic and doing some different colors acrylic. And so some of you had asked about doing engraving on acrylic, so that's what I wanted to do tonight. And guys, if I can get them all up here to where you can see them, these are the different, we got the yellow one right there, the lime green, the darker green. I've got the red. It worked out pretty well. And then I think my favorite, guys, is going to be the transparent orange. It's pretty nice. It come out, nice and dark as far as the engrave, the contrast between the engrave and the material. But just so you can see all of the different colors here, there they are. There's the different colors of the keychains that we made tonight. And like I said, they worked out pretty well, so I'm pleased with that. And I'll try to drop links to the material, the colored, this solid colored material, as well as the transparent material if you want to try it. I'm gonna be adding these to my clack shack, portable clack shack for the upcoming event. And if you haven't already heard, it appears that I'll be going to an event the first weekend of November, back in downtown Clanton. Me and a few of my friends from the area and a few of the neighbors will be there. Pretty sure May is gonna be there. Haven't really talked to anybody else to see for sure if they're coming, but it's hopefully going to be it's going to be the holiday kickoff for our Merchants Association in town, and hopefully there'll be lots of folks there and some fun times. And I'll try this time to do another video. Maybe I can do a little bit better job than I did last time, guys. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is the keychains that I made tonight. Did them all with the Comgrow, the 10 watt. It will cut this material. I had a couple of hang-ups with the Comgrow. It went unresponsive on me a couple of times. So I've been playing around with some settings to see what's causing the issue. Did a little research while I was away, and apparently there has been some reports of that. I don't know if it's a firmware update or a transmission issue between the computer and the machine, but all in all, the times that it did it wasn't that big of a deal. The way I've got it set up, I just had to simply return it to home and send it again. So not a great big deal, and it didn't happen that often. It almost seems as though it could be the machine maybe getting too hot, because I have been running at 100%. So I'm going to bounce that around and try to figure out what's causing that issue. But other than those few little hiccups, the machine performed well, and I did a bunch of cuts tonight, guys. So it definitely got the job done. But those few little mistakes on its part does kind of bother me, but I'm sure there's a simple fix for it, because it doesn't do it all the time, and it may go a long time without doing it. So I'm thinking it's going to be a communications. I played with the settings on the machine with the baud rate. I went from using buffered mode to using synchronous mode to try to correct it, and it still did it. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a heat issue with the laser, or something in the motherboard of it. So don't know, but anyway, it got the job done. It all worked out, didn't waste any material, so it was a good day. But thanks for stopping by, guys. Like I said, I apologize for all the bee videos. I do have one more little bee video I'm going to put out, but I'm going to drop this one first, because I've got to go ahead and get this out for you guys. I promised that my next video would be about a laser, so I'm going to get this one out first, and then I've got the final, well, I won't say it's the final, but the latest update for the orphaned hive of bees that I collected. I'm going to be dropping that video here shortly as well. But thanks for stopping by, guys, and as always, have a good day.